Welcome to the Reese Report. I'm the mouth of the North, Andrew Reese, and we are back for our Week 8 NFL picks. I am joined this week sole by Gil Santos. My first one-on-one with him. Jose is away, and Barbosa's at hockey tonight, so it's just going to be me and Gil talking about the games and making our picks. Should make for an interesting show. Gil, your Packers snuck one out last week with a field goal. How'd you feel about that game?
That was good. They snuck it out, but they played better though. They
Yeah.
couldn't control mix, but those two interceptions by Love is what kept Houston in the game because I believe Stroud only had 86 yards passing.
Yeah, they stopped him.
They shut down Diggs, they shut down Stroud. Just Mixon was the problem, but they did a pretty good job.
Yeah, yeah. I think that the Packers are a team that likes to turn teams over. They're never going to be a good run stopping team, but Love is kind of a wild card, man. He'll either make the spectacular or he'll do something that confuses you. You don't know what you're going to get from him. But Stroud without Nico Collins is a different quarterback. That is for sure. So they're going to need him back. So let's go over the records. Gil, you were very impressive last week. 9-0 at 1 o'clock and a total of 13-2 on the week to make a nice little comeback to put yourself within 9 games. You're now tied with me at 64 and 43. Barbosa had 11 wins last week. He's at 65 and 42. And Jose only 10 wins with me, also having 10 wins at 73 and 34. So Jose holds an 8 game lead over Barbosa and 9 over us two. But the comeback trail is on. It's only week 8. Got 8 more weeks left to go. A lot of stuff happened in the NFL this week. A lot of injuries, trade deadlines coming up, and there's a lot to talk about. So let's start with the Thursday nighter, Gil. The Minnesota Vikings, who found a way to blow a game against Detroit. They had a chance to close it out, couldn't get a first down, and then Detroit came back down and hit the field goal to go to 6-1, tying Detroit, tying sorry, they lose to 6-1 to tie Detroit for the best record in the league next to Kansas City. They go to the Rams to LA to take on the Rams. The Rams are injury filled. Cooper Kupp's on the trade block. Nakua might come back this week. So Minnesota going to LA on Thursday. We might see TJ Hawkinson back for the Vikings. Who do you got in this one, Gil? This is a tricky game on Thursday night.
It's tricky. But I just think the Rams are well. Cup if Cup plays, it's going to be. But the Vikings defense is doing great. They're on the roll. The loss, the loss though. Mm, teams go on streaks. Now they went on a 5-0 streak. I feel like it could go the other way.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it won't start with the Rams. I think the Rams will lose. I think the Vikings will still beat the Rams.
Yeah, I'm going to take Minnesota too. They really should have won that game last week. They had a chance and just couldn't complete a pass, and then allowed Detroit to come back and take it. I think they'll find a way to beat the Rams. Their run defense is good, which means Kyron Williams may not have a great day. And if that doesn't happen, there's no play action pass. Stafford, without his weapons, is a different quarterback, just like any quarterback would be. So I think Minnesota's defense should pull this one out against a less effective offense. So I'll take the Vikings. We don't have Jose's picks yet. We'll get them later, but we do have Barbosa's picks. And let's see who Barbosa took here. Barbosa has the Vikings. So we're all on the Vikings so far. Now let's get to your team outside of the Packers, Gil, and that's the Baltimore Ravens, who, I mean, I never thought I'd see this, but Lamar Jackson might be the MVP again. He threw for 5 touchdown passes, and I'm talking throwing, no running, throwing the ball. The only problem is he might split votes with Derrick Henry, who was also having an MVP season. That combination has been absolutely deadly after the first 2 weeks of the year. They won in Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay had a 10-0 lead, and then Mayfield threw some picks, and then the injuries. I mean, Evans drops a touchdown pass, rips his hamstring, and then late in the game, why the starters were still in the game, I'll never understand, as Godwin dislocates his ankle. So Tampa Bay in a lot of trouble. Speaking of trouble, the Cleveland Browns have lost Deshaun Watson. Now, I'm not here to make fun of his injury. The Cleveland Brown fans did enough of that by cheering when he got hurt. He tore his Achilles. They went to DTR and then to Jameis Winston. They just got Chubb back. They lost their best receiver. The Browns are a mess. Let's not waste too much time on this, Gil. I'm sure we all have the Ravens here.
Well, yeah, well, Cleveland Chubbs is going to help a lot for Cleveland on the run game because Cleveland had no run game all year.
Yeah,
But it's not against the Ravens. They're just explosive, And let's not just forget my Super Bowl pick again, Ravens Packers. They both look like they're going, but yeah, let's not waste time. Henry's just on another level. Lamar,
yeah,
they're all clicking. Everybody's clicking. Andrews is getting involved as
I
well.
know. Yeah,
Like this team is just dangerous.
yeah. The Browns defense, God bless them, they're still good, but they just can't score. And so Baltimore's going to outscore them if anything else. Jameis Winston might give them a little hope, but not against the Ravens. Their run defense is really good too, so that should stop Chubb from running on them as well. So we're all in the Ravens, but Barbosa has the Ravens as well. We'll find out about Jose tomorrow. Now let's get to Tony Barbosa's Colts, who somehow I don't know, Gil. They are 4-3 somehow. I don't know how. Anthony Richardson looks terrible. They have no Jonathan Taylor. I don't know how they're doing this.
Yeah.
Even their receivers are playing hurt, and they're somehow 4-3. Um, they're going to Houston to take on the Texans, who struggled last week, but they're not going to struggle this week.
Nope.
Joe Mixon is going to have a field day against that run defense. I would pick him on DraftKings to go over whatever his total is. I got Houston. Gil?
Got Houston as well. Don't forget, Indy bet a banged up Miami team,
Yeah,
right? So, they're getting luck. They're getting teams at their weakest points because if Miami was with their players, Indy would have caught a beating.
yeah, yeah,
But it looks like Miami's starting to get healthy as well. But with that note, in Houston just came off a bad loss to the Packers. They need this game to make noise to show that they're contenders. So I think they're gonna annihilate them.
yeah. Houston's got the division one. It's just a matter of positioning for them now. Kansas City keeps finding ways to win games, and so that's the team to catch. But they're right there with Buffalo now at 5-2. So we'll see. I still like Houston when Collins comes back. I really like them on both sides of the ball. So we'll see as the season goes on. Barbosa also has the Texans. Now let's get to your Packers, Gil. Now, I like your Packers. I said it before the season. You're worried about the run defense. I like Jordan Love. They have four really good receivers that are off and on. They got Jacobs running the football, and they like to get turnovers. But they're playing a team, and I know this team stinks, but every time your team plays the Jaguars, something weird happens. I think they've lost to them the last two times they went there, like something about the alligators in Florida or something. I don't know. Like they have trouble with Jacksonville. I don't know what it is. So I'm going to ask you who you like, but you know this is a tricky game.
Yes, but not Trevor Lawrence, man. No, no, not Trevor Lawrence, man.
No, no. I will say
It's
Bigsby might have a big game.
Yes, all the running backs against Green Bay
Yeah,
usually have big games.
it's right.
It's the
Yeah,
receivers that get shut down.
yes, yes. Although I do like their rookie receiver Thomas. I think he's a good one. Etienne at tight end is good, but Trevor Lawrence is just he's just so inconsistent. You never know what you're going to get out of the guy. So they did beat New England last week, but it's New England. Um, so you have the Packers?
Not the Packers.
Yeah, I got the Packers too. I mean, it's a tricky game, but I can't do it with Jacksonville this year. They're just I mean, if they're going to run into a good offense, they're probably going to lose. So I'll take the Packers, hoping it's not a trap game for the Packers. I
Yeah,
mean,
well,
it,
it might be.
I mean, in that division, the lowest team is 4-2. You can't afford to have any slip ups. I
Yeah.
mean, if they allowed four teams in the playoffs, they'd all get in, but it's only going to be three. So we'll see. It's a battle every week. Now let's go to the Tennessee Titans, who I don't know what they have left. I mean, they got rid of Hopkins. He's on his way to Kansas City. They don't have a quarterback. They got Tony Pollard at running back and Calvin Ridley complaining about not getting the ball despite getting 92 million. That's the Titans right now. They allowed Derrick Henry to go to Baltimore. What a terrible team that is right now. They're going to Detroit to take on the Lions. Gil, could this be a record beatdown, or is this going to be a sleep game for Detroit?
Well, it won't be a record beatdown because by probably halftime they'll take out their starters.
True. Yeah,
After watching what happened to Tampa Bay, I'm pretty sure a lot of coaches will be like, when the game's done, they're going to take them out,
that's right.
which for fantasy owners is not good. So all
No.
fantasy owners, watch out with your Detroit players because they might get pulled in the third quarter. Or
Speaking of fantasy, just so you guys know, I had three players last week leave the game early with injuries, and it cost me the week. So it's been really rough this year for fantasy. But go ahead, Gil.
yeah, well, that's all I was going to say. This is another waste of time. This is all Lions.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm a Packer fan, but the Lions are going to win.
the only question is by how much. That's the only question. The Titans, I mean, they may go
Well,
back to, I mean, yeah.
I think the spread's at 11 right now. I'll put them like at a 21.
I'm actually shocked it's only 11. I was going to say it's at 14, and if it's 11, I would take the 11 points, guys. Like Jared Goff is playing at an MVP level right now, and the Titans defense may be good, but I don't see how they stop that attack right now. Jamison Wilson is suspended, so maybe that changes something, but they got a two-prong running attack and really good receivers. Like I don't see how they could get close, but that's why they play the games. Now to a game that I'm so disappointed I'm not going to see it full strength. It was Atlanta going to Tampa Bay to take on the Bucks. I was looking forward to this game all week. I was waiting for it. I was ready to talk about it. And then Tampa Bay went and lost their two best receivers. I feel bad for Baker. I thought Tampa Bay was a really good team this year. I thought they had a chance to make some noise and surprise some teams. They've already beaten Detroit in Detroit this year for their only loss of the season. They started out well against Baltimore, but their defense is not any good in Tampa Bay, and now their offense is taking a big hit. Atlanta's fully healthy, and as much as I would love to take Tampa in this game, I can't do with the injuries now, and so I will take Atlanta, and knowing they're probably going to win the division now. I still don't like Kirk Cousins. I said it before. I'll say it again. When you think Kirk Cousins is going to be good and he gives you some hope, plays well for a couple of games, then he goes and plays at home to Seattle and throws in a stinker like you would not believe. Two interceptions, two fumbles, and the Seabags, who looked terrible going into that game, destroyed the Falcons. So even though they're going to win the division, they're a one and out for me, Gil. I got the Bucks. I got the Falcons. But what's your thoughts on Atlanta before you make your pick, and just Kirk Cousins in general being a fraud of a quarterback?
Well, I took Seattle
You did. You
last.
had Seattle. Yeah.
Uh, Kirk Cousins is a fake. Um, he's that type of guy that steals someone's identity, and he's a pretender.
Yep.
Um, Atlanta's going nowhere with it. Like Atlanta wasted all this money. They're not going anywhere with this guy. Unfortunately, yes, I think they'll end up beating Tampa. Unless Tampa's D comes through and picks them off a couple of times, who knows? Control the
Yeah.
game sideways. But unless they do some pickups right now and trade deadline, I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, I'll have to give the edge to Atlanta.
Yeah, it's really too bad. I was really looking forward to this game, and those injuries were tough. Were tough to see. Hopefully, Tampa makes a trade. I think they got a good team. Their defense is kind of not really good, but Baker was rolling going into that game, and I think they should get him some help. But we'll see. They might be right up against it in the cap, so we'll see what happens there. So I think pretty sure we're all in Atlanta here. Let's see. Barbosa has yeah, he has the Falcons as well. Now let's get to a team, Gil, and we need to talk about this. I tried to tell everyone. I even had someone comment about this because there are some passionate Jet fans watching our show, apparently. The Jets stink. And the Jets stink not because of their coach, not because of their running backs, not because of their offensive coordinator, not because of their defense. They stink because Aaron Rodgers has been terrible this year. And I know Gil has been a fan of Aaron Rodgers, played for his Packers for many years. He's a four-time MVP and he won the Super Bowl. But he has been terrible this year. Gil, before we get to our picks, can you deny that Rodgers has been below average this year?
Yeah, he hasn't been great. No, he hasn't been great. But I think they're still trying to click. At the end of the day, this is his first year in the Jets. Last year, he didn't really play, right? He played 4 snaps,
Yeah.
right? So give him some time. We forget that he just seventh game in. Let's see what happens, even with Adams, whatever. But yeah, he hasn't been playing great.
Yeah, I mean, 0 points in the second half against the Steelers. The shocker for me was Russell Wilson playing as well as he did. I didn't see that coming. I still took the Steelers because I believed their defense would get to Rodgers, and they did. However, the Jets might have a mulligan this week as they go to New England to take on the hopeless Patriots. Um, I don't know who to take in this game, Gil. Who do you got?
Well, I gotta go with the Jets. If the Jets don't win this game, they're done.
I mean, they're 2-5. They're already 3 games back of the Bills. It's going to be uphill sledding to make the playoffs now. Um, God, you're taking the Jets, right?
I'm gonna like the Patriots are not that special either, but
No.
I'm gonna take the Jets off experience because at the end of the day they have Bryce Hall, they have Adams, they have the names. They have
Hmm.
Rodgers, and Patriots don't have the names. So
Yeah,
I'm I'm
that's
I'm
true.
I'm, I'm gonna go with the Jets.
I really, really do not like this Jets team. It's not hate. I'm watching the games, and Rodgers has never played this bad as a quarterback. He's got like 9 interceptions this year, and he's just not playing well. However, the Patriots, I mean, they're starting Drake May. Their defense is falling apart. The running backs can't hold on to the football. You got guys leaving the game with illness in the first quarter because they don't want to play anymore. And Gerard Mayo is calling his team soft. And insulting the ex-coach who won 6 Super Bowls. I got to go with the Jets here. The Aaron Rodgers, if anything, might go into the locker room and say relax and try to run off 5, 6 in a row and see if they can make it at the end. But that Jet defense has really let them down too. Like I mean, Russell Wilson tore them apart last week, and Harris ran it down their throats as well. So, but I'll take the Jets just because I just don't think New England is. I don't think they're any good. So,
I was actually looking. I think there was a rumor of Salah going to into the Green Bay organization.
I mean, he's a good defensive coordinator, so he can help anybody. Um, Boy, the 49ers could use him. They're just we'll get
Well,
to them.
apparently, apparently there was almost a deal with him and the Packers. To be honest with you,
Yeah, I mean, maybe they're going to help their run defense. I mean, if Salah's anything, it's a good defensive coordinator. Look, they fired him because he wanted to get rid of Hackett as the offensive coordinator. Then Rodgers went to the owner and complained. They got rid of him and the offensive coordinator. So it's falling apart in New York. But we'll see. We'll see what happens with them at 2-5. Let's see who Barbosa took here. Barbosa's got the Jets as well. All right, let's get to the Cardinals who frustrate me. I Kyler Murray, he's if he runs the football more than 50 yards, they have a chance to win. But other than that, he doesn't really move me as a quarterback. Um, they're going to Miami to take on the Dolphins, who are likely to get Tua back. And if they do, they're going to win this game. So I have the Dolphins. Gil, what do you got?
well, yeah, it's that's a big thing. If Tua comes back, it helps. If Tua is not there, though, I think Arizona has a shot.
Yes,
But it's in
yes.
Miami. I think Miami's gonna even if Tua comes back, I think it's gonna be more of a run game. I
Yeah,
think Miami's gonna try to run. Um,
to protect
so
Tua. Yeah.
yeah, so I think Miami's gonna win by a field goal.
I expect a high scoring game. Miami's defense has been good all year. That's one thing I'll give them credit for. I expect to see a lot of play action pass off the run because they're not going to put Tua in a situation where he's allowed to get hit. I think you'll see him in the shotgun and play action for most of the game. Tyreek Hill's already out there saying, "Put me in fantasy this week." Well, I put you in fantasy, Tyreek. You better show up, okay? Because I'm at 4-3 and I'm teetering, okay? So, and I got to face Jose, the freaking 6-1 nightmare this week. So you better show up, okay? Um, Barbosa, who do you got? You're a big Cardinals fan. Oh, Barbosa took the Cardinals. I guess he's not convinced that Tua's coming back. I would bet on Tua returning this week, guys. Like they're dying for him to play right now. They're also 2-5, correct? So the Jets and the Dolphins going to be fighting for that last spot. It looks like. Now we go to a really interesting game. The Philadelphia Eagles, who just annihilated the Giants last week in the Saquon Barkley revenge game, ran up 170 yards and made Phil Mara, the owner of the Giants, cry. They go to Cincinnati to take on the Bengals, who snuck out a couple of wins against the weak teams. They beat the Giants and then they struggled to beat the Browns. I don't know what the Bengals are. They're struggling on offense, they're struggling on defense, and they're just beating teams that they should beat. I don't know what the Eagles are either, but they did get their playmakers back, and because of that, I'm going to take the Eagles. Gil, what do you got?
I I was there in Cincinnati, and they're a home team right now. It was a tough game against Baltimore there, but I think that's the game that got their offense clicking again. Higgins came back and stuff, so I think they're gonna go in full force, but they're definitely a home team. So I think a lot of people are doubting them, and Burrows has to step up, and I think this is a perfect game for them to say, "Hey, we're here still." Like Cincinnati's still here.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it'll be a high scoring game. A lot of offense. I expect a lot of passing touchdowns in this game. The Eagles secondary is nothing to write home about, and the Bengals struggled on defense for most of the year. So expect a high scoring game in this one, guys. I'm Barbosa also has the Bengals in this one. Tough game, but I'm gonna take the Eagles against my better judgment. You're right about the Bengals. They are a home team, but they lost to New England this year at home. So I don't know. The Bengals, I just don't know what you're going to get week to week. Oh, let's go to the Saints. The Saints are starting Spencer Rattler and are missing two receivers. All they have is Kamara, and they're going to take on the Chargers. Guess who I have, Gil?
Chargers.
Yeah, as much as I don't like the San Diego Shitty Chargers, I do like how they've looked under Harbaugh. They should have won last week. They blew it. They again not getting the first down, kicking 5 field goals, and Murray came down and threw a little pass to Connor, and they get the field goal. But I think the Chargers will control this game on the ground. And despite Herbert throwing for 370 yards last week, they got no touchdowns. I just they need some receivers. Talk about a team that needs to trade for a receiver. That the Chargers need to do that. But I think they'll win this game because New Orleans can't score. Gil?
Yeah, I agree. Same thing. I'm gonna take the Chargers. We said it all pretty much.
Yeah, I mean, until they get Carr back, and even he's not that good, they're not going to be able to score. What a contrast from the first two games of the Saints until now. Like what a difference. Barbosa, who do you have in this game? You have. Hmm, did you forget this one? I think you forgot this game. Okay, we'll find out later. All right, let's go to the Bills. The Bills, as I've told people, I thought they were going to win the division. I was the only one to take them to win the division. They picked up Amari Cooper. Keon Coleman looked good last week. They got James Cook. They're going to Seattle to take on the Seabags, who just ripped apart the Falcons. Gil, when you took the Seabags last week, was it just because it was Cousins, or what made you take the Seabags after they struggled for a couple of weeks there? They lost to the G-Men at home and they lost to San Francisco at home.
It's one of those where you can't always take that team to lose every time, right? And
Yeah,
there's always a game. We have to understand there's always that game you snap out of it,
yeah,
right? So that was last week, but they are at home. Buffalo's be tough. It's gonna be hard to stop Allen.
tough game.
But you know what? I'm gonna take the Seahawks again. I think Geno Smith might pull it off. I don't know if Metcalf is injured or not. They said he was a questionable,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
we'll see about that. That'll change a lot. But I'm gonna
Mhm,
project Metcalf is gonna play because it's a
mhm.
big game for Seattle, and I think Seattle at home with that fans, I think they'll win.
I am going to take the Bills. And I'm going to take the Bills because the Seahawks run defense is not good. I think the Bills will be able to play their game where they run the football and play action pass. I'm curious to see how Allen is now with a receiver. He threw for a lot of yards last week for the first time all year. He threw for 370 yards in the victory against Tennessee, who has a good defense. Seattle's really good against the pass, so I expect a lot of running in this game. Seattle struggle at home. So because they've struggled at home, which is surprising considering how good they are at home, I'll take the Bills to win this one. Barbosa has. Oh, this is another game he didn't pick. We're gonna have to ask him about this one too. Okay. let's go to the Bears. Gil, Caleb Williams, he's starting to pick it up now. Now I know he hasn't played anyone. They played a bunch of garbage teams, but he's starting to really look better as a quarterback. Um, Unfortunately, he may not face the number 2 pick, Jalen Daniels, who hurt his ribs last week. I was looking forward to this 1 versus 2 matchup. We may get Marcus Mariota instead, but before you make your pick, does Caleb look better to you, or is he just facing weaker competition?
I think a little bit of both.
Yeah.
He's looking better, but it's also because he's playing weaker competition.
Mhm.
But good for
Um,
him.
yeah,
But I'm gonna take Washington.
yeah,
I'm gonna take even Mariota. He still looked good. He ran the offense just as if it was normal. I didn't see really nothing different.
yeah, he did. It was against Carolina, who's an embarrassment. Wow, this is a tough one because if Jalen Daniels was playing, I would take Washington. Um, I don't know if I can trust Mariota. I'm going to take the Bears because Jalen Daniels is hurt. Um, Mariota got to come up and mop up duty where it looked like Carolina quit. And I think that the Bears defense will present some problems for him and his limited ability to throw the football. Plus, they're good against the run. So I think the Bears on the road will pull this one off somehow without Jaden in the lineup. So I'm gonna go with the Bears. Again, too bad Jalen's hurt. I would have took Washington otherwise. So I'll go with the Bears in this one. Obviously, you want the Bears to lose because that division is getting heated right now.
That's true
Uh,
too, yes.
so there is that because I know you wouldn't take the Washington team ever if it wasn't for that. So Joe Biden's
Joe,
team, Joe.
I know.
So let's get to a game that, on normal circumstances, you wouldn't think is interesting, but every time these two beat team, it's interesting. The undisputed Kansas City Chiefs go to Vegas to take on the Raiders. Now, the last time Kansas City went to Vegas, it was a major upset. Vegas killed them. This has like sleeper team written all over it, where Kansas City just falls asleep after an emotional win over the 49ers, taking on a Vegas team that looks like they're falling apart from inside out. Having said that, I've done my best to go against Kansas City, and I'm not going to do it now. I think they're going to get revenge. I think they'll beat Vegas. I think that Pierce is fallen apart there a little bit in Vegas, and the team's got injuries and it's got missing receivers and quarterback problems. I'm going to go with Kansas City. What do you got?
Yeah, same thing. Vegas looks like they're a little roughed up, a little confused, unorganized. They're not going to be KC.
Yeah, even I mean, if Hopkins plays, it only enhances their chances. I mean, Kansas City has all kinds of injuries on offense, and it doesn't matter because Mahomes makes some weird play where he runs by everybody and scores touchdowns. Like I just their defense is great too, which really helps. Always picking people off and stuff. I mean, we'll get to the 49ers later because that it was just not pretty. Okay, we're not going to waste time on this one, Gil. I hope Andy Dalton's okay. Got into an accident. Uh, because of that, the Panthers are mercifully going back to Bryce Young. And my God, what a time to go back to him facing the Denver Broncos defense.
Defense,
Oh my Lord. Like this is going to be not pretty. You could see a shutout in this game. And yeah, your boy Bo Nix is going to have a good night, I think, Gil. So I'm
yeah,
sure you got Denver in this one.
absolutely.
Denver is an 11. I think are they a 14-point favorite? That's how bad Carolina is.
Uh,
Like
10,
Den
10 points.
they're 10 points. Like Denver's offense is nothing to write home about, but Carolina might not score in this game. Like if you're a fantasy player out there, get Denver's defense somehow because I don't think Carolina is going to score. I'm gonna have to bench Chuba Hubbard. Not going to be pretty. We're all on Denver here. Some easy games this week. Not much to talk about. But
Yeah,
Denver, sneaky Denver, might be a problem sneaking into the playoffs there with some of these games. Catching teams at the right time. I mean, New Orleans, I mean, they ran into New Orleans with nothing. I mean, so hey, take advantage while you can. All right, let's get to this game. Gil, I'm not going to be happy talking about this game. The Dallas Cowboys, who are awful, and have an owner that's talking about why he didn't go and get Derrick Henry, sounding like a bumbling fool, are going to San Francisco to take on my team, the 49ers, who are an absolute mess. They've got a guy in the hospital, pneumonia. They've got a guy who's got a torn MCL and ACL. They just paid $30 million to. Jawan Jennings is out. We're down to rookies on offense and Brock Purdy, who doesn't know where to throw the football now, throwing picks all over the place. A defense that's hanging in there, but can only hang in there so long, and a coach that is on the hot seat. I don't care what anyone says. I think Kyle Shanahan is on the hot seat now. They've got a running back who we don't know if he's ever going to play again this year. It's an absolute catastrophe. And this is why I say when you have a team that can win the Super Bowl, you better take advantage while you have the chance. Because if you don't, then the injuries start. Gil, I'm going to let you pick this game first because I'm too angry right now. Purdy was awful last week. Kyle did not help him. They owned Dallas. So I'm still picking San Francisco, even with the injuries. Um, but that could be against my better judgment because they own Dallas. But who do you got, Gil?
Yeah, like they're playing both awful right now. One of them have to win, right?
Yeah,
Um, and yeah, I'll probably I don't know, man.
the
This is
bad
really
game.
tough. I'm gonna have to go. I don't know. I just have this feeling Purdy's just gonna come through and the Niners are gonna win. Maybe a defensive stop or an interception, something like that. That's the way it's gonna go. That's been Prescott's luck is
Yeah,
always something like that. So I'm gonna take the Niners, but who knows? It's probably
yeah. This,
us.
this is a coin toss game. Both teams are really struggling, and who knows what's going to happen.
Yeah.
All right, let's get to the final game. The G-Men, who have a quarterback that's lost. I'm trying to be nice. He's just a disaster. Um, Going to take on one of the best defenses in the league. Gil, let's not waste any time. The Steelers are going to win this game by a lot.
Another good defensive team that if for fantasy is to pick as well as Denver and Pittsburgh.
Yeah. What do you think of Russell Wilson last week? I think it was a mixed bag. Like he
Started
kind of
started
looked
off
bad. Yeah.
started slow, and then when he got in the flow, he just killed it.
Yeah. He threw those moon balls, Gil, as we like
And
to call them.
lucky that he did because Tomlins was getting kind of booed at the
He
beginning for
was.
making that call. So
Yeah.
lucky Wilson came through.
Yeah. The fans were booing early, and they showed Tomlin on sideline just nodding his head, give him time. And Fields never got on the field, even though they said he was going to play. He never got in the field, so it worked out. But I'm not convinced he's all the way there yet. But it's the G men. They're gonna. I mean, they're gonna win this game. So Wilson should be fine. So those are our picks for the week. I like this nice little flow. Talk about the games one on one. Barbosa also has Denver, Dallas, Pittsburgh. Like, there's a lot of games where it looks like there are locks on the schedule this week, but it's the NFL. Anything can happen.
Anything can happen. Yeah.
So you never know. But Gil's Super Bowl pick looking good right now. I got Houston still alive, but San Francisco. I don't think they're a good team this year, Gil. I honestly don't think they're a good team this year. Whether it be injuries, defense, special teams, the coach, there's just too many problems right now. I just don't think they're a good team. They've blown a couple of leads this year to bad teams. I just think their window is very close to being closed. They're going to lose a lot of players in the offseason. And they have a big decision to make with Brock Purdy, and I'm not sure what that decision is right now. He's a good player. I just wouldn't want to pay him $60 million.
Yeah.
Maybe the Love contract, but I don't know. I don't even know if he's as good as Love. So we'll see. I mean, Purdy's good, but it's just his ugly games are really, really bad. So we'll have to
Yeah.
wait and see, right? All right, well, that's our show for the week. I'd like to thank Gil Santos for coming on. It was really great doing a one-on-one with him. We'll see if we can find Jose and get Barbosa to come on when he's not playing hockey. But I'm the mouth of the North, Andrew East. That's Gil Bay Santos, who's looking Super Bowl's looking good. We'll see you next week on the Reese Report. And as always, hit my music.